Hello, welcome to Jared Hood Sports Show. Had a fun guest on for the last one, holding his Xbox hostage at the moment. So whenever I'm able to give his Xbox 360 back, because I like playing an old college football game, I'm gonna do it this week. He'll probably do a show with me then again. Hopefully, I'll have to ask though. It was very fun though. Glad to have it. Thank you, my brother, Dwight. My actual, I mean, that's he's one of my closest friends by far. So moving on. Thank you for all for watch. Good reactions. Good decent amount of people watched, more than usual. So it was very fun to do the show with him. Definitely gonna try to do it again. Do another one with him again in the future. Sports. I want to talk about Naomi Osaka. Um, I'll explain why in a second. We'll talk about Embiid. We'll talk about the Lakers situation. Uh, no real news, but a little bit of news on the Julio Jones or not Julio Jones, on the Aaron Rodgers situation, but I'll talk a little bit about the Julio Jones situation too. Coach K retiring, not maybe not a huge story. It's not to say though. Uh, we'll start with Naomi Osaka. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because ever since the Kevin Love situation where he wrote that article, I think it was for the Players Tribune or whatever it was a couple years ago. Maybe it was the Athlete. I forget what he wrote it for, but it was talking about his depression and anxiety. And ever since then, I feel like the national media, the national sports media, and probably local places too, because I listen to a lot of local stuff. 95% of the time doesn't cover it well because myself included, we're not equipped for that. We don't most most don't go through that. It's how can you explain something you have no idea? We talk about sometimes athletes talk about how these talking heads like me have no right to talk because we could never do it. You want to talk about never? I mean, that's something. Anxiety and depression. I will talk a little bit about her situation and what's happening. But I'm definitely here to tell you that I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I don't have either of those things. And I won't be the best person to describe it. I've known and been around and lived with and been through people who do have it. And this will translate to the Naomi Osaka situation. This could be an hour to hour situation, a day to day situation. It could be 4 years, feel perfectly fine, and boom, one day for the next 4 years you don't feel fine. It's impossible to describe. It's impossible to see it. It's impossible to understand when it's coming. And um, people were mad that Kyrie Irving stepped on a logo and it hurt their feelings, but you can't understand that this woman's feelings. To me, it just there's ways that we can on the outside break it down, and most people don't do it well. So I guess the my view on it is she did the right thing. She tried to explain to everybody pre tournament. Hey, I don't like talking to the media. What's going on here? I don't. It's not really your place to understand it. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. And the flip side of this, she got enough money to do that. She got enough money. You're not going to find her more than whatever she made in the match, okay? Because one, that's not fair. So you can't do that. That's not fair. So she got more money than whatever she's with Nike. She'll pay the fine. She decided before the tournaments, fine me, do whatever you got to do. I will pay the fine. Now I think they started talking suspension and whatnot after she didn't talk. We'll move on. She decided before the tournament. Sorry, it just really frustrates me. She decided before the tournament I'm gonna do what I have to do to keep my mental right, my mental as sharp as my elbow or my knee or my ankle or my wrist or whatever because she's a tennis player. Um, like she's like I got to keep my mind as sharp as anything else on the body. It's a tool as much as anything. And I have the money to avoid what really annoys me and what really is getting to me and what really brings me down. And it makes not my elbow hurt, it makes this hurt, it makes my mental hurt. So she's like, I got the money to just pay the fine, move on. Go to the next match, win, pay the fine, move on. Go to the next match, win. That's her thought process, or at least again, I can't say that. That's what it looked like from the outside when she announced it beforehand. It was kind of a story people talked about it. I heard it for sure. I'm not the biggest tennis follower. I do like her. I love Serena. I do follow the men's a little bit during the big tournaments, like what's going on right now. But it's not. I'm not an avid tennis, So okay, but I did hear about it, right? The reaction to her doing that, though, to paying the fine and moving on, was she's weak. It was oh, she can't talk to the media. Oh, it's her obligation. If I did that at my job, yeah, you can't pay your way out of that at your job. You don't have the money she does. She can literally pay her way out of that. She could have continued playing. She decided, because everybody was saying stupid stuff like that, she decided I can't be a distraction to myself, because now this is worse than just talking to the media. Can't be a distraction to the rest of this tournament, because that's not fair to the rest of the people playing in this tournament. I'm done. I'm out. I'm going home. See ya. Because she got the money to do that. You don't, by the way. Like, people who are judging her about doing it. It's so annoying. Anyway, so I hate that that's what it came to, because the reaction to she's not weak, because she has bad anxiety talking to people of different languages of all over the world. She's not talking even to like the Philadelphia or New York media. She's talking to Philadelphia, New York, Japan. She's talking to Russia. She's talking to the French. She's talking to global outlets in Africa. All over the world. Mexico, Canada, you name it. So yeah, maybe it doesn't bother you. It probably wouldn't bother me. It doesn't matter. That means nothing. And it's frustrating that to a lot of people it does. I don't like the tournament. And this is my fault for not doing the right research. I know the tournament was going to increasingly fine her, but again, in my mind, they can't fine her more than the money she made in the match. She makes enough Nike money, this, that, and the next thing money, that, endorsements, left and right money, that she can pay that, whatever. Every dollar I make in your tournament, just keep it, and that will be our fine. That's, you know what I mean? Like, she would be able to literally do that, and it'd be all right. And just go out there and play for the try to win, and make her brand name bigger, and blah blah blah, because that's going to make her more money in the long run. Um, but again, the reaction just is what led her to leaving the tournament, and that's unfortunate. See, here's the other side of it: the people who cover tennis, I don't know if they did it the right way. I know the outside people did, but um, you need to keep her to get your game to grow. She can walk away. They like the money's there. That 23 years old, she's 23. She'd be like, you know what? I don't need to do this for 2 or 3 years. Let's see where we're at then. Like, she could be the next Serena, the thing that, you know what I mean. And I get it. Tennis isn't hugely watched, right? I watch sports like crazy, and unless her or Serena are doing well, I'm usually not watching, right? And I'm not the only person that does that. There's a lot of people that only watch golf when Tiger Woods is on. Like, it's that concept. It's just, if they were going to suspend her, and this is where my fault. I didn't do enough research comes in. It sounds like from a couple of the shows and podcasts and other things that I listen to or read, were saying that a couple of them mentioned a possible suspension in other tournaments, like maybe the U.S. Open, I guess. The other major tournaments, though, talking about heavy fines and sanctions and maybe impossible suspensions and blah blah blah. Look, if you're going to suspend her, yeah, she can just walk away, and that's not right. If they're going to suspend her, you're doing your sport a disservice. You're hurting yourself. You ain't hurting her. You're hurting yourself. And so I hope that's not the case. And again, that's my fault if I. Yeah, but if they are really actually trying to suspend her because she doesn't want to talk to the media, um, that's on you. Now, I get the career and the obligation that people talk about. I do understand that. Like it's in their contract, the obligation, blah blah blah. This isn't gonna, like, not every player in the NFL is now just gonna be like, oh well, I have mental, I have depression, anxiety, so I'm not gonna talk to the media. No, there's people in all sports that love the cameras, want the attention, want to grow their brand a different way. There's definitely people who feel the way she does. There's people like Marshawn who dab back, and to the point where you don't even want to talk to them no more. There's different aspects and different angles. There's different human beings. And by the way, not everybody has the money to skip their media obligations. So some people might actually still feel the depression and anxiety, but have to go do it because, to your original point on Twitter or wherever on the internet or whatever, or calling in the radio shows, to your point of I can't just skip my job. Yeah, some of these other people couldn't either. You can. Moving on. Something less serious. Well, still serious actually. Joel Embiid with the Sixers. The Sixers are up 3-1 in the series. Do believe they will clinch with or without him tonight at home. Pretty sure it's full house, if I'm not mistaken. Full house. Crazy. Good for the Sixers. They'll play really well in front of home crowd, like really well. So that's cool. They should be able to get it done without him against the Wizards. Maybe, probably should be able to get it done against the Hawks or the Knicks. Brooklyn or Milwaukee, probably not getting past them without Embiid. Sounds like maybe a small tear, or maybe not a tear. The report is super vague. Going to be a lot of rehab over the next 24, 48, 72 hours. See where he's at game one of the next round if they do win game six or five. Um, that kind of thing. Going to be a lot of that over the next couple of days. If he's out, yeah, again, like I said, that's it. That's it. That's it. But if he does come back and play and he's able to, because it sounds like from the other reports that I was reading, he might have had this for a little bit and didn't tell the Sixers like that. He might not even felt it. I don't know. With like just my normal, how I'm going through it, I'm bruised, blah blah blah. He felt he was holding his hip and his side, and that's what they X-rayed or took the MRI of, and they saw that in his knee. I guess they just took a whole lower body one to make sure there was no damage lower. And they don't think that fall might have been what it was. They think he might have had it for a little bit. So if that's the case, and they're able to manage it. They talk about things like swelling, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. If he's out, yeah, that's it. I mean, he's the MVP. But I'm scared if he is, for sure. It sucks. Definitely sucks. But it's an unfortunate thing. It happens in sports. Obviously, people talking about it happening a little more this year in the NBA. I do think that it's a tick up because how much basketball has been played with the bubble last year, so close to the season. But we're at that home stretch, and now everyone's playing as hard as they can, and everyone's putting their body through a little more. So I hope we don't see more of it, but we'll see. Speaking of injuries, moving on to the Lakers. Losing game 5 the way they did. Even with AD out, I didn't expect a 30-point blowout. Who did? AD is the same thing. Sounds like a lot of, let's see if it swells. Let's see how he feels. Let's see this. Let's see that over the next X, Y, and Z days. When he's there, he's the X factor. Obviously, he's so good defensively. Talked about everything he does in general. But look, I'm a LeBron lover, defender. I get that it's going to sound like this is still a LeBron lover defender. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have a terrible game. He didn't have a great game, but how good of a game can you have? First time in the history of the NBA that a backcourt had 0 points. The starting guards for the Lakers had 0 points. Yeah, I mean, maybe him and AD can overcome that, but AD or just LeBron, neither of them are going to overcome that by themselves. It's just not happening. That roster's not good enough outside of those two for those two to just be one and overcome that, like the statistical anomalies that happen in Game 5. Now, even if AD doesn't play in Game 6, hard to bet against LeBron at home there. If he doesn't play Game 7, we'll see. A lot of that is also me thinking that Chris Paul might be a little dinged up, maybe not even play Game 6, but again, we'll see there too. That's a big storyline when it comes to this series as well. LeBron in elimination games is a different animal. If the ankle is hurting him, maybe he can't be that different animal. But speaking of the ankle hurting him, I guess look, I live on the East Coast. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even make halftime of that basketball game, but didn't have to. I missed it. I saw the Dame highlights. I definitely dug deep into it. We're going to talk about that, but didn't see it live. It seemed like a very special moment. Sucks, man. That's the only thing about living on the East Coast. Anyways, so LeBron leaves the court like 5 minutes early, I guess. I get it. You don't see it a lot. I get it. You want him to be. I get it. I totally understand. He's a bad. I get it. Do I care? No, absolutely not. Does he care? No, absolutely not. Does his teammates care? No, absolutely not. People don't like him, so anything he does is going to get noticed. I can't tell you that I've seen Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons do that this year. I can't tell you that I saw them do it. But as a Sixers fan, in a 30-point blowout, and they were injured for the last month and a half, they leave 5 minutes early, and it was okay. He didn't need to sit and babysit the backups. And that's like that. I understand though. If people think it's a bad look, whatever. I mean, do I think he had to go back right then and there and ice his ankle? Absolutely not. No, I do not. But do I think he had to sit on the bench either? just as much of a no. Like it does that. I mean, we're nitpicking. If that's what you're mad at him about today, can't wait to see tomorrow again. Yeah, it's just that's where we're at with like that. It's just that's a stupid, petty, dumb thing, and I'm a petty, dumb person, so I get it. Like I said, CP3 being hurt to me might change it, and LeBron back to the whole ankle thing. If it really is bothering him, it's a problem. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Okay, so Dane, um, amazing, 55 clutch shots here and there. He's off the chart. He's certified. Give him whatever you want to. He's right there with the best of the best players. You know, you start ranking the top 10 best players. He needs to be in there. Like I'm in the game right now. Clearly, like there's just no way around it. Like he's the guy. We all agree. Every single one of us agree. The sad truth with that though is like they're not doing the right thing to make him a winner. I like CJ McCollum. I don't know if it's time to move on from him, but if it's not him, then you gotta figure something out. Coach has been there for a long time. Gonna have to out him. There's a lot like they need to if they're gonna go for it, and I get they're a talented team, but if they're gonna go for it, they're not talented enough to win the championship though. None of us think they're better than well on paper the Clippers, but before we talk about the Clippers, none of us on paper fully healthy think they're better than the Lakers. We don't think they're better than any of the big three in the East. I, the White said it best. They are what the Sixers would have been if they didn't start the process. So right now it's time to you got to make a leap of faith. Like there's got to be, I get it, peaks and valleys. I talk about with the Sixers all the time. The reason that they're not like the Bucks, where it's just steady, is because they go for it and then it hurts them for a year, and then they go for it and it hurts them for a year. You're gonna, I mean, there's nothing. What else are you gonna do out west? With like, I'm not saying be Oklahoma City and trade him and blow it up, but what's happening right now is not going to beat the best teams. And the Suns are on the way. You know, I do think the Suns are young and good, even if they don't win the series. We all know. So the Mavs, like, it's just one of those. You look and it's like, okay, well now LeBron might be getting older. Oh no, now you got maybe the Pelicans 3 or 4 years from now, depending on how good Zion really turns out to be. Like John Morant. I mean, you're going towards the end of your run, and there's teams Denver and Utah I didn't even mention that are in the middle of their run, and then there's teams of those people, the teams I mentioned before that are starting their runs. So Portland's just not like they're not. Nothing they have done makes you be like, yep, they're going to compete for a championship. Yep, they're going to make the right move to compete for the like nothing. I agree, top four team in the West, but that doesn't they can't. Who's to say Golden State with a healthy Curry, Thompson, the way they looked the last 25 games of the season last season, maybe somebody comes and joins. Who's to say a year with Wiggins, another year with Wiseman? Who's to say that like they're not? I mean, so it's crowded over there. In Portland, just I made the joke earlier, and I kind of feel bad for it, but like they don't go for championships; they go for divisions. In the NBA, divisions mean nothing. Moving on, Julio Jones said he wanted to get traded since the last time we talked about it. Um, the Falcons claim there's a first rounder on the table from an NFC team. Figured it'd have to be the Eagles, right? I'm not saying I don't want Julio Jones. I just don't see the Eagles getting him. Um, but there's no way there's a first rounder on the table and you didn't do it yet. There's no way. It's too many days. We're past June 1st. That's the big date for him and Rodgers. The Rodgers situation, the Packers said they don't believe that he's willing to just sit out and not play football. He'll play for the Packers instead of not play football. I don't know. We're so far away from the season that you can empty threat if you want. You know, it might on both sides. He might actually be like just empty threading. They might just be emptily, having an empty threat towards him here. If I was the Packers, you can get a haul in return for him. I mean, if he doesn't want to be there, do it. Like that's the one thing I will give the Eagles organization credit for. They tried 2 or 3 things. They tried to reach their hand out to Carson, and Carson was like, "No, I don't want to be with you guys." And they were like, "Okay." we need people who are going to want to be here. Like I love Carson, and I like Carson Wentz. He did the. I wouldn't have wanted to play for them anymore either if I was him. I get it. I told. I don't. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, so I would have stuck it out longer than he did because I'm here for the law. I understand the athlete's perspective on that situation. I understand Aaron Rodgers' perspective on this situation. So to me, yeah, feel them out and like make some real feel out attempts. No matter how drastic it sounds, you want Aaron Rodgers more than you want basically anybody else in that building right now, right? So if that's the case, then make the drastic attempts. And if you don't want to be around, then you got to get rid of him. Not just for, I'm not saying that for his sake. I mean for to me the team's sake. I would get out from under that. Last thing, Coach K. Apparently his replacement is now in line, and he's only a year away. You can see he was getting a little tired of the grind, and he's been coaching for I think 45 years or whatever. I mean, he's been around for a long, obviously. So there's just legend, a legend, and I really like Coach K. I don't necessarily root for Duke. I'm not a Duke fan, but I don't mind seeing them do good, and like I like seeing his success, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like the same thing. I just have a lot of respect for them, and it's got that in that program. But it's gonna be weird here, right? No Willie, no Roy Williams, no him. Glad Jay Wright still looks like he's 25. Maybe he can coach for a little while. We're losing them all, right? But nah. So I'm sure Coach K will still be. He's the face of Duke basketball. So I'm sure he'll still be around the organization. I mean the university and the what they do there. So like I said, he's a legend. Tough for college basketball to see someone like that go. Definitely. I mean, never going to be able to replace a Coach K. But hopefully, I am going to be rooting for them this year. Hopefully, hopefully Duke can do something just to, kind of give them a good one. The one and dones, people are trying to say like, that's part of what ended him. I thought he did a good job with the one and dones over the last couple of years. I really thought he did. So I just think this is just he's getting older. Got to spend some time with the family last year, probably a little more than usual. Things like that. I think the human aspects. So, but congratulations to him on all of his success. And like I said, before he retires, still rooting for a little more. So, thank you for watching Jared Hood Sports Show. Definitely going to have a little more on the playoffs. If anything happens with Rodgers or Julio, I'm sure I'll be talking about it. Philly sucked, but they won 17-3 their last night, so that's great. I'll be back. Jared Hood Sports.